Okay, students, let's get on to the practice problems. So I'm going to work through these first two with you. So even though I'm doing these problems essentially for you, I still want you to write them down in your notebook, okay? So let me go ahead and read the first word problem. Zoe's mom made a dozen pancakes on Saturday morning. Zoe ate 1/4 of the pancakes. How many pancakes did Zoe eat? So we need to figure out a couple things. First, we need to understand that a dozen means 12. So Zoe's mom made 12 pancakes, and Zoe ate 1/4 of the pancakes. Now, remember, the instructional video told you that this word of that comes directly after a fraction indicates that this is a multiplication problem. So Zoe ate 1/4 of the pancakes. Well, we know that there were 12 pancakes. So for us to figure out how many actual pancakes Zoe ate, we need to set up our multiplication problem. So 1/4 times 12 is going to be the problem we need to solve. So as you know, whenever we have a whole number, we need to make that look like a fraction. So what I'm going to do is rewrite the problem, but I'm going to make 12 a fraction by putting it over 1. And then we are ready to follow the steps for multiplying fractions, which is numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So if we multiply the tops, 1 times 12 is 12. If we multiply the denominators, 4 times 1 is 4. Now, this is not our answer. This is an improper fraction. So yes, this needs to be simplified. You read this as a division problem. 12 divided by 4. Well, 4 fits into 12 3 times evenly, and there is nothing left over. There is no remainder. So what this means is that the answer is just going to be a whole number, 3. So if we go back and look at the question, we need to make sure we answered it. How many pancakes did Zoe eat? Zoe ate 3 pancakes out of the 12 that her mom made her. So 3 pancakes is our final answer. Please make sure you wrote this work down in your notebook. Okay, let's see another example. Okay, this one says, when Roger got to the party, there were 2 1/2 pies left. He ate 1/5 of what was left. How much pie did Roger eat? Okay, so I'm looking at this problem. I see 2 numbers given to us. I see that one is a mixed number and one is a proper fraction. It says 1/5 of what was left. And we know that what was left is this 2 1/2. So I'm just going to write 2 1/2 over that word left. And again, we see that word of directly after the fraction. So this tells us we need to figure out what 1/5 of 2 1/2 is. Okay, so this is a multiplication word problem. So 1/5 times, I'm going to replace the word of with the multiplication symbol now. Okay, so our first fraction is fine. I don't need to do anything with that right now. However, our second fraction is a mixed number. So we know that that needs to be changed to an improper fraction. So let's go ahead and work on that. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 2 1/2 is the same thing as 5 over 2. Remember, denominator stays the same. So if I bring down the 1/5, it now looks like 1/5 times 5 over 2. So I am now ready to multiply. So top times top, 1 times 5 is 5. Bottom times bottom, 5 times 2 is 10. this fraction needs to be simplified. You would not leave your answer like this. So you need to think of a factor they have in common. I always start with 2. Okay, well, 2 is not a factor of 5. I can't multiply 2 by anything to get 5, so I can't do that. Something I usually ask myself also is if the numerator can fit into the denominator. So if 5 can fit into 10 evenly, then we can divide by 5. And 5 does fit into 10 evenly 2 times, so that means I can divide by 5. And some of you might have not have even needed to do this to know what 5/10 simplifies. Some of you just might have already known right away. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So our final answer is 1/2. Let's see what that means in this word problem. Remember, the question was, how much pie did Roger eat? Roger ate 1/2 of the pies that were left. Okay? So now what we're going to do is on the next slide, on the next 2 slides, are 2 more practice problems. So here's the first one I want you to try on your own. So I want you to read it to yourself, try to solve it, and then go to the next question, which is right here. Try to solve this, and then when you're ready to check your answers, press play again, and you will hear me go over these 2 questions. Okay? Okay, let's see how you did. Here was the first practice problem you were to try on your own. It says, when Justin came down for breakfast, there was 1/2 a box of cereal left. He ate half of what was left. How much cereal did Justin have for breakfast? Okay, so if you think about this, here's our box of cereal. It's saying when he came down for breakfast, half of this box was left, and then he ate half of that. So essentially, this is how much of the box he ate. Now, if you look at my picture, some of you might already know the answer just by looking at the picture, and you wouldn't even have to do the multiplication. Let's do the multiplication to see what we came up with. So in this one, you are just going to take the 2 fractions, which happen to be the same fraction, and multiply them. So 1/2 times 1/2. Remember, here's that word of, which indicates multiplication. And then what was left? There was half of the box left. So you're finding a half of a half. So this was actually a pretty simple one. If we multiply the top numbers, 1 times 1 is 1. Bottom times bottom, 2 times 2 is 4. And 1/4 cannot be simplified. So that is your final answer. That is your solution to this problem. Justin ate 1/4 of the box for breakfast. That kind of seems like a lot of cereal. So if you look at my picture, you can kind of see if I would have split this into 4 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can tell that this is what he ate, and that's 1/4 of the whole box. Okay, let's go to the next one. Three-fourths of the students in Mr. Mack's class are buying lunch. 2/3 of those students ordered a sandwich. What fraction of students in Mr. Mack's class are having sandwiches for lunch? Okay, so we see our 2 fractions. Those are going to be the 2 we multiply, and it doesn't matter the order. If you set your problem up as 2/3 times 3/4, or if you did 3/4 times 2/3, it doesn't matter. You are going to get the same answer because in multiplication, you can switch the order. For example, 2 times 3 is 6, but so is 3 times 2. It didn't matter that I changed the order, right? Okay, so 2/3 of those students are the 3/4. Okay, so that says 3/4. So 2/3 of, so that means 2/3 times 3/4. So 2/3 of the students of the students that bought their lunch, which was 3/4 of them, ordered a sandwich. So let's figure this out. If you did top times top, 2 times 3 is 6. Bottom times bottom, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, you should have realized that you're not finished. This is not your final solution because yes, this can be simplified. So you could have divided by a few numbers actually. You could have started with 2. You could have divided both of these by 2 because they are both even. They also have a 3 in common. You could have divided by 3, but they also have a 6 in common. 6 fits into 12 evenly. So you could have divided by 6 right away and that would have given you your final answer. So if you did that, great. Let me show you if you would have started by dividing by 2. If you divided by 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Well, that is not simplified all the way. So for example, in an exit ticket, you would still not see this answer. We have to keep going. So I can't divide by 2 again because 2 doesn't fit into 3 evenly. But I can divide both of these by 3. So if I do that, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our final answer is 1/2. Now, what does that mean for this word problem? Let's go back and read the question. What fraction of students in Mr. Mack's class are having sandwiches for lunch? 1/2 of his students are having sandwiches for lunch. Okay, so if you're still not comfortable with these, you can go back and watch the first instructional video. You can go back and listen to this one again before you go and do your exit ticket, okay? But even before you go and do that, you should take a picture of your work, okay? You should have a total of 6 problems written down and upload that picture here, okay? Have a good rest of your day. Good luck on the exit ticket. Bye, grade 5.